y'all. So the next topic is going to have to do with NPR quitting Twitter, which will be the first United States outlet that has chosen to essentially quit Twitter, which is crazy because think about it. If you're a news outlet, you're going to get your news out however you can. And you only have a few outlets that you can use. You know, you can use the radio, you can use television, and then past that, your really only options are these large social media sites because we know they're monopolized. You've got YouTube, you've got Twitter, you've got Instagram, you've got Facebook, and you've got Snapchat. That's really about it, other than your own website. So for somebody to a large company such as NPR to completely choose to drop Twitter is actually quite crazy because that's possibly a lot of monetary loss for them. That's a lot less ad revenue that they will probably get, you know, and everything like that. So it's going to be really interesting to see. I'm not going to hold you guys up, and let's see kind of, okay, what was their thinking with doing this? Are they going to possibly lose money for this, you know, and everything like that? Because this is abnormal. I can definitely say this is abnormal. This is the NPR building right here. Now it says NPR said Wednesday it will stop sharing content on Twitter after the social media company labeled NPR state affiliated media, a term also used for Russia and China based propaganda outlets. So that's what they're doing. Basically, they got attacked by Twitter, and since they got attacked by Twitter, they're choosing to no longer use the application. That makes a lot more sense. You don't want to use an application that is actively talking trash about you. At that point, I can see why the company would be okay with taking the monetary loss that probably comes, or the loss of exposure, you know, that comes from them no longer, you know, using Twitter. Now it says the news outlet's organizational accounts will no longer post new content on its 52, that's a lot, official Twitter feeds, becoming the first major U.S. news organization to do so since Musk took over Twitter late last year. Now it says NPR was surprised by Twitter's decision to label the company state-affiliated media, reported by the outlet. When pressed by NPR reporter in an email exchange, Musk conceded that the label might not have been accurate. Twitter then challenged the label on NPR's account to government-funded media, which, as you know, government-funded media is a terrible thing. Why? Because media is spitting news to the people, and in a lot of ways, you know, pretty much affects the way that we think. The only way I'm able to even talk about this subject with you guys is why? Because it came out on media. If I was to get news, or like, let's say I was to get false news, I would possibly think that it was real news, not knowing it's false. And, you know, that's a terrible thing about media, but it's very good to be informed what's going on in the world. But you only have the access to what you are given. You know what I'm saying? I can't go out on the field, go into Twitter's offices and, you know, ask them questions myself. So what do I got to do? I got to go to these news media outlets to get my information. So if they can just be bought off and any type of news can be created, that's not only a really negative thing, but that's extremely dangerous. Now it says the news organization said this label is still inaccurate and misleading since NPR is an editorially independent nonprofit company. That word nonprofit kind of gets thrown around a lot. People don't realize if you're a nonprofit company, but you get a lot of profit to do what you do, even though you're not technically directly getting paid, you might have a nice office. You might have a nice home because that's where you got to live. You might be able to throw some events that profited companies wouldn't even be able to throw because you're getting so much funding because you're nonprofit, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, obviously there are a lot of nonprofits that actually do use their funding for good. I'm just saying that word kind of gets thrown around a lot of times to the point now where a lot of times people will see like, oh, that's a nonprofit company, and they'll be kind of scared to even like donate and stuff like that. Like me, I'm very secure in where I donate and everything like that because I know that there's a lot of companies that, you know, will kind of screw you over, kind of like Black Lives Matter. And, you know, they essentially took a whole bunch of money and did a whole bunch of stuff that they weren't supposed to do with it, you know? So you think it's for a good cause, you give the money, and then you realize I kind of got duped. Now, it says NPR receives less than 1% of its $300 million annual budget from the federally funded Corporation for Public Broadcasting. So 300 annual budget. That could get you to push an agenda. Just saying. NPR did not respond to requests for comments. Twitter responded to a request for comment with a poop emoji. See, this is what happens when you have somebody like Elon Musk, who we're gonna talk about later. He's basically speaking on the state of Twitter right now, so that's gonna be really interesting later in the video. But yeah, he responded with a poop emoji. You know, like it's funny, but it's unprofessional. If you're a stockholder and you're serious about your money, you're thinking, do I really want to have my money? Well, you wouldn't. But let's say it was in Tesla, because Twitter is off of the market now. Do I really want to have my money in something where the CEO will respond to a very serious allegation with a poop emoji? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's quite wild. Now it says, I would never have our content go anywhere that would risk our credibility, Lansing said. And basically they said they won't return to Twitter. NPR CEO is what said this. I've lost my faith in the decision making at Twitter. This is not a good look for Twitter at all. On Wednesday afternoon, Musk tweeted what appeared to be a screenshot of an email from an NPR reporter asking for his reaction to the decision. Now, Musk said defund NPR. He's really coming for them right now. Now, Twitter also briefly added a government funding media tag to the British news outlet BBC, but BBC said that Musk agreed to change the label to publicly funded. As of Wednesday morning, no label is visible on any business Twitter accounts. The new label designations are the latest policy changes Musk has implemented since its tumultuous $44 billion acquisition of the social media platform. During Twitter Spaces interview Tuesday, he said that the Twitter takeover process has been marked by an extremely high level of pain. We've just been watching. It's been ugly. We know it's been ugly. And for my friends that are on Twitter, I'm not on Twitter. Technically, I have an account, but I don't use it. I don't go on Twitter ever. They pretty much kind of hate all the changes that have been made as a result of Elon Musk being, the CEO of Twitter. They kind of see the app as being in a downswing and not as good. So also I want to know too, what is you guys who be on Twitter? Do you guys think Twitter is a better place since Elon Musk left, or it's a worse place? Also let us know why. We're interested. Now, a vocal critic of the media, Musk called New York Times coverage propaganda on April 2 and compared the company's Twitter feed to diarrhea. Y'all like that? Diarrhea. Diarrhea. In a tweet. I'm sorry, I'm playing around. Now, it said he stripped the news organization's verification checkmark shortly thereafter, citing the company's refusal to pay for the platform's revamped Twitter Blue subscription service. Twitter relaunched its updated Twitter Blue subscription service in December. We all know we all hated the Twitter Blue stuff. Even me, I'm not on Twitter, and I can see why it's annoying. There's a prestige that comes with the verification, and everything like that. If you got verification, people know you're really about it. They know you really do what you do. You know what I'm saying? If you're a guy and you have a check mark, all the girls instantly want you. Why? Because you got that check mark, because it has that status that comes with it. And they pretty much made that to where you could just pay to get the status. So it doesn't hold any value anymore. Very sad. Now, Musk said in a tweet Tuesday that legacy verified accounts, including news organizations and journalists, will lose their check marks on April 20th. So I want to know what you guys think about this. Do you guys think this is Elon Musk really just calling out a media company for essentially taking money from the government and then pushing those agendas? Or do you think NPR is kind of just like, hey, well, Twitter's coming at us, so now we no longer want to be a part of this, They said no matter what happens at Twitter, they won't be using the platform. They probably would if Elon left, but, pretty much, with the way that Twitter is going and the direction that it's going in, they don't see a reason to be a part of that. I'm not sure. I would love to see the amount of money lost. I'm sure a large company like NPR would probably lose a ton of money and exposure, by no longer having access to one of the biggest social media sites. I couldn't see that being, lucrative in any type of way to make this move. And let me know what you guys think about this. Are you guys kind of more on the Twitter side of this? Are you guys kind of more on the NPR side about this? Because as we do know, Elon Musk and what he's kind of doing over at Twitter is a problem. But paid media, especially government funded paid media, where they can push those agendas, is a huge problem. Like I said, misinformation on media is one of the worst things that can ever come out, and it can cause people to move in a type of way, thinking a certain type of way that may not even possibly be true. So guys, if you like this type of content, definitely like, comment, subscribe, and all of that good stuff. And I'm gonna get some water, and then we're gonna go ahead and get into the next topic.